feeling cold against your skin. Running through the chaos, letting all the sin. Temptation in a bottle, ready for the night. Craving for the thrill, it's time to ignite. Dark desires burning bright. Echoes in the dead of night. No retreat, no looking back on this heart attack.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, good to see you. Good to be back this afternoon. We were originally going to do Erin Patterson stuff all afternoon, but breaking news out of Victoria, 2 police officers have been shot and killed, and another one injured at a rural property in Porepunkah, northeast of Melbourne. So this happened this morning. They were serving a search warrant for historical SA crimes, and it all exploded from there. It is a big incident in Victoria right now. So I am sort of doing 50-50 this afternoon with you. We're going to do some of that. We're going to do some of my notes from yesterday, which I was finally able to finish this morning. So last night, we got back so late, I wasn't able to finish all my notes from court. And I caught up this morning, was able to get a bunch more done. So we will do that as well. Hey, good to see you all. Been a busy day out in the media world in Melbourne today. Let me get you updated, and I'm going to bring you to ABC, just give you the rundown on this incident, and then we'll talk about it and some of the updates over the last, well, it's like half an hour or so. All right, here we go.
We can now confirm 2 police officers have been killed and 1 injured in a shooting at a rural property in northeast Victoria. Reporter Ashley Aldridge joins us from Porepunkah in Victoria. Ashley, hi there. What is the latest from Porepunkah?
As you can see behind me, there is a really big police presence here in Porepunkah, which is just on the outskirts of the tourist town of Bright in northeast Victoria. I arrived here about half an hour ago, and there are about at least 50 police officers in uniform and in plain clothes here. There's a helicopter overhead searching a nearby paddock quite low. And in the last 10 minutes, we saw a rather large contingent of police on foot take off on the road behind me. The media has all been pushed back to this cordoned off area. I have spoken to police on the ground here. They said that it is still very much an unfolding situation. As I'm sure you can probably hear in the background, it is very much unfolding. We have just seen, you just hop out of the way here, as the police going past here. So as you can see, we've just had 4 police cars go past us at a fast rate of speed with their lights and sirens on, all undercover. Just in the last few minutes, we've also seen a dog from the police squad released into a paddock nearby as well.
So you can see the amount of activity up there throughout the day today. And this is the property here. I'm going to show it to you. So the description that's going around is this person is a sovereign citizen, and we've dealt with them before at Williambilla. So if you remember, we talked about Williambilla a long time ago now, but you know, it was a similar incident where police entered a property. 3 people that time opened fire and tried to, well, they did kill officers, and they tried to kill all of them. And then there ended up being a raid of the property later on. I've shown you some of the footage from that day, some of the body cams, but now we have one in Victoria, and this is the property here. They're saying that that man has fled the area. That's what the cops are up there looking. They're looking for him. And I noticed on the radar just before. That's interesting. The radar just before, it looks like pole 35's heading out. This morning we had pole 32. That's the one you saw in the footage circling around, at least I think so. And now we've got pole 35 heading out there, which is their fixed wing aircraft. normally that one doesn't fly out for these type of events, so I don't know what exactly it's heading out for. Sometimes they use this plane as transport. So, say the police commissioner might be flying out to the area. That might be what they're using it for. I've seen them do that before where they have a press conference in somewhere far away and they'll take out and fly out like the hierarchy of the police, or it's heading out there for something operational. So, I don't know. But very, very disturbing incident in Victoria. Here you go. They're just flying over Mansfield right now. They're heading out. It's just they got a little bit more to go. It's up here. Ping's probably going to get wrong, but it's up here somewhere. That's Albury Wodonga. It should be just down here, somewhere down here. Ping's geography is not that great, but they're flying up into this region, so they got a little bit more to go. They got about what, probably another 10 minutes, 20 minutes, something like that. But what's interesting, there's another one flying over, HM3. We already had HM5. HM5 flew out from Melbourne with Pole 32 and then came back this afternoon, landed at the Alfred. The fact that they landed at the Alfred probably tells me that someone was, well, we know one officer was injured. If they took them there, I hope they are going to get some really good care. They're going to be okay. But the Alfred are a good hospital, one of the best in Melbourne. They do great work. So hopefully that officer will be okay at the Alfred. But yeah, Pole 35 is heading out there now. And then there's HM3s heading over from Bendigo. So multiple aircraft. It looks like there might even be a third one heading out. HM1 just took off too. So a lot of aircraft heading out to the area searching for this guy. As you can see, armed sovereign citizen flees with wife and kids after shooting 2 cops dead and wounding another in brutal ambush as officers executed an SA warrant. So really, really crazy day. I'll bring you some more updates of what's been going on in the last little bit. Yeah, the last update was here. Multiple sources have told the Herald Sun one line of inquiry is that the suspect is a sovereign citizen who believe the laws of the state of Victoria do not apply to him. One local said the suspect lived on a bus on a property on Rainer Track. He said there was high security there, including cameras and a security gate. They said he's gone with 2 guns from the coppers he shot. Hopefully he's not coming this way, a local said. So, and they said they've got a Leonardo AW139 helicopter up there. That's the Vicpol helicopter. That's the big one. They've got it up there. Apparently, it has infrared technology that detects and measures thermal energy of objects like a FLIR camera. So they've got the FLIR camera up there looking for him in the bushland, and hopefully they're going to find him. So big day up there. Big day up there. Hey Tim, I don't know. I've not seen anyone name names as of yet. They knew he had weapons and they knew he had an anti-government sentiment. Yeah, I believe that it was pretty common knowledge. A couple of people I spoke to that live in the area in the last hour said he was well known. Like people knew about him. People knew sort of, they just knew what he was like. So yeah, supposedly CIRT was asked to go to the scene. Higher ups denied it. That's critical response. Wanted to go, but instead being time critical. Detectives engaged a search warrant themselves. Well, that's clever. I don't know if that. We'll see what happens when it comes out in the. There should be a press conference. I'm hearing that there. I wonder if it's on now. Give me a second. I heard they were going to run a press conference sometime soon. I just want to see if we've got it. Here, give me a second. Doesn't look like it. Looks like the ABC is still showing politicians. So not yet. If it comes up, I'll let you know. Shasta, hey, good to see you guys. Wendy, Shasta said they really say coppers. They do. It's an Australian thing. Uh, Gaylor says we also say it in the UK. Yeah, coppers is a word. So like I said, three officers have been, well, one has been injured, two have been killed after they tried to serve a search warrant, or they executed a SA warrant on this guy, and he's shot and killed two officers and injured a third, and now there's a manhunt going on. If I pull up my map, I will show you where it's happening, so we can all have a look at the area. Give me a sec. Yep. Let me take you out. I'll show you where it is. So this is the region here. It's in far northeast Victoria, near the town of Bright. So this is Bright here. This is Porepunkah here, and there's been millions of cops and resources sent up here throughout the day to try and find this guy after killing those two officers. As you can see, if you go north just a little bit, you end up in the border. So this white line that's going on the map here, that's the border. So this is Albury Wodonga. So Albury's one side, Wodonga is the Victorian side, and just south of there, if we zoom out, is Porepunkah. So that's where it is. It's really far north in Victoria. So there we go. Let me go down my chat. Hey Shasta, thanks for being a member for 10 months. I appreciate it. Hey Mountain Bee, good to see you. New member here, thanks to Joe Schmo. Thanks, Joe. I appreciate it. And thanks for being here, Mountain Bee. I appreciate it. Hey Texas, Mimi, good to have you guys. 7 News on it right now. Thanks, Matthew. Let me have a look. 7 News. Are they saying there's a press conference on 7? Let me have a look. 7. I know they were waiting on one. That's what I heard before. Live TV. I'm not seeing anything on my one. It's showing me all old TV shows. Let me check this one here. It's showing me that they're showing The Chase. The Chase. So no, it's not showing on for me. If ABC has it, I will switch to it. If ABC comes up with it. Tim, plenty of spots to hide out amongst the hills around here. Not an easy place to navigate if you don't know it. He can't hit the hills because of the snow and the winds at the moment. Yeah, windy day in Victoria. Even down here in the city, it's been a windy day. I was thinking about that when I saw the helicopters flying out and then returning. I was like, they're probably in a rough ride today because the conditions are probably pretty rough up there. If he'll know his guns. I would say that you're right. Someone who lives that lifestyle probably already has hideout spots in the, they know that their home may eventually be raided, have police visit it. They always have a backup plan. So I think you're right. Hey, Four Souls Mom, good to see you. Hey, Mimi. That could be true. I mean, because it's not showing anything for me, and I'm Victorian. Let me just check one other place. I do have a VPN. We could switch it on in a minute and have a look. Yeah, because I find that weird that ABC, which is a national feed, wouldn't switch to it. Hold on.
Of the afternoon on the news channel, 2 police officers are dead and another is injured as emergency services respond to a shooting in Victoria's northeast. Reporter Ashley Aldridge joins us with more from Porepunkah. Ashley, we spoke to you, what, about an hour and a half ago? This incident has been unfolding during the afternoon. What can you tell us now about what we know has been happening?
Look, it's still very much an active crime scene here at Porepunkah. I've joined you a little earlier from behind the cordon off tape. I have been able to get a little bit closer. I'm not sure if you can hear in the background, the helicopter is still overhead in the paddock behind me. We have seen it come up over us a few times, and we can see police out the side looking out of that helicopter, but they have returned to the paddock behind us, where they are just going back and forth in lines at a very slow pace, quite low to the ground, looking for this alleged shooter, who we understand is still on the run. As you mentioned, this all unfolded a little earlier today, when we learnt that 2 police officers had been killed and another injured. I arrived here on the scene at around 1 o'clock, and when I got here, there was a very heavy police presence that has sort of petered off in the past hour. There are still quite a few officers here. If I step to the side, I'm not sure if you can see behind me, but there are quite a few emergency services vehicles and police on foot, but things have certainly quietened down. We did see a number of police vehicles leave the area with their lights on around an hour ago.
All right, I'm going to leave it there. I don't want to play too much of it, but there's an update from the scene. This, according to The Age, is the area right here, based on their Google Earth. They're also reporting that the weapons that the 2 officers had, weapons that the 2 officers have were taken from them. So, Gail said, is this live on Facebook? It's live on Twitter too. So maybe people who are commenting on Twitter, you guys can't see if you're in the YouTube chat. So that's probably why some people can see other people and some people can't see other people. But yeah, there you go. There's a view of it. There's the region. I'm getting a weird error. Your browser has lost connection to your share screen audio. Yeah, that's fine. We don't want that. It's telling me that I've lost my audio, but that's okay. Yeah, so like that lady said, that reporter, it seems to have quieted down somewhat. I'm guessing that if they had him, it would have already broke, that he would be captured, but not seeing that right now. Let me show you what The Age has on here. If I can get to it. All right, let's go to The Age. The Age is reporting a bunch on it right now. Alleged gunman on the run with family, children after 2 officers. Imagine taking children with you after you shoot 2 cops dead. A pin post. No, we don't want that. Yeah, alleged gunman on the run with family and children. They're saying here the alleged shooter is on the run with several family members, including children. Police sources have confirmed. Police are still saying that they want people to avoid the area. Victoria Police confirm they are continuing to respond to the shooting. They say this is an active incident and we will provide more information when it's operationally safe to do so. That was at 2:25 p.m. So almost an hour ago now. Let me check VicPol and see if they have any new updates for us. Their last update was an hour ago. It was that update. Oh no, 50 minutes ago. Yeah, just that they're still responding to the incident, is an active incident, and they will so they'll do a press conference when they can, is what they're saying. Hey, good to see you. Danny said he's a rock spider. I don't know. I mean, it could SA allegations could be. It doesn't give us whether it's child or adult. They could be child or adult, or they could be both. They don't really tell us. It just says here historical SA allegations. So historical charges. Saying here, the police that are now in the area include camouflaged officers, an armored tactical vehicle, and the VicPol Air Wing. So they have sent all the people. It looks like that other helicopter made it out there. So not the helicopter, but that plane, Pole 35 has landed by the looks of it. I don't see it on the radar anymore. Looks like the Pole 35 has made it out to the region. I don't know if that's got some sort of high command or something on there. They often do that for um, press conferences and things like that. Shasta said, I'm assuming officer shooting in Australia is unusual. I wouldn't say unusual. It does happen. I would say of this magnitude is slightly unusual. You do get shootings that involve officers and people. Normally, it's like someone pulls a weapon and the cops shoot him, and maybe the person fires back. To have an ambush attack like this, that is more rare. Like I said, William is probably the last big one that I can remember that's similar. So let's see. Hey Lisa, good to see you. Gayla's here. Way less guns in Australia than America. Hey, the bad guys will always have weapons no matter what the law says, because we all know that criminals are always the people that want to follow the law, right? So they definitely are the people that want to make sure their firearms are registered and, you know, abiding by the law. I'm pretty sure that bad guys just have guns when they want them. So they can 3D print them. There's 80% kits. There's all sorts of things they can do. Lisa, I haven't seen you in a while. Yes, haven't seen you in a while, my friend. I'll keep you updated on this. I don't know how much more information we're going to get in the next little while, but let me double check. Last update I can see is 49 minutes ago. About 2:30 was the last big update. Yeah, I'm not seeing any more updates. It's probably going to be a slow roll for the rest of the afternoon, which is typically what happens unless something big like they find him or something like that. They say the gunman who is very well known to police and reportedly took the firearms from the dead officers. That's pretty brutal. Yeah, so that's about all I have on it, but I wanted to update everyone because it's a big thing happening down here today. It's worth talking about, and the people in this area, uh, it's good to give them the information that we can find. I mean, it's gone all the way up to the Prime Minister. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese said he's very concerned for some of the police officers who are involved. The AFP commissioner also commented saying, our thoughts and prayers are with Victoria Police right now. So it's gone up to the highest levels of government right now. They said they will do a press conference when it's operationally safe to do so. That could be now, that could be in 20 minutes. I don't have any direct information that they're going to run one, but the fact that Poll 35 went out leads me to believe that either someone with a high ranking is being flown out to the area for a press conference or a briefing. So possibly. Let's see. All right. I'm going to check one more place, and then I am going to move on to another topic just for a minute. I just want to check here. Let me see. It doesn't look like there's any. Oh, here. Yeah, so ABC was just talking about a press conference, and the girl that is a woman who is reporting live from the scene, she's saying that they haven't been given a firm time right now for any press conference, but she's sort of saying maybe in the next few hours. So that would mesh with what I've seen too. That sounds about right. Will they, Joe? Will they? Hey Tim, what's up? I mean, we get blackouts in Melbourne with 4G connection. So, I mean, out in the rural areas. Well, it was interesting when I posted earlier. I posted a screenshot. I can put it up here probably. I posted a screenshot of Pole 32 and HM5 heading out on the radar, and as soon as I did that, Pole 32 disappeared from the radar. So I don't know if I caused it or other people reporting it, but probably operational reasons. They were like, people are reporting that we're in the area. Not that I would give away their location if they were actively searching in the area. You're not supposed to do that, so I wouldn't do that. But they were still like 40 minutes away from the scene at the time. Gayla says, "Come over to YouTube." She's talking to Tim. Tim can do what he wants to do. If he wants to stay on the Twitter, he can stay on the Twitter. Yeah, yeah. No more updates. Big last update was that sovereign citizen claim about 40-50 minutes ago. So I'll tell you what. If we get some more breaking news, I will keep an eye on it. There's people in my chat that I know will alert me if something happens and I'm talking about something else. So if we get a bigger update in the next hour and a half, I will switch back to the coverage of the officer shootings, but right now it's not really showing. Yeah, the last update a minute ago on Herald, a source close to the investigation but speaking on the condition of anonymity, said one of the deceased officers was from Melbourne while the other was based locally. It's understood the killer is with his wife and 2 children. New South Wales resources are believed to be travelling to Victoria to help with the vast search operation, including the Tactical Operation Unit. The TOU is a specialist crew similar to Victoria's SOG, which is the Special Operations Group. So it sounds like our friends from New South Wales are coming down to help the Victorian officers. So that's good news. Very good news. Yes, I hope they find him soon and drag his ass out of the bushland and allow the people of this town to go back to their normal lives because I was talking to someone who lives in the area about an hour ago, and they're like, "There's cops everywhere. They've shut down some roads. It's sort of a bit scary because they don't know where the guy is. Some of the children in the local area are a bit afraid because they sort of know there's a guy on the loose, which I could imagine that would be pretty frightening for some of the younger kids. They don't really understand what's going on fully, not like the adults do." Even for the adults, it's a little scary. What if he broke into your house? I did hear that the cops were telling people, though, don't leave your keys in your vehicle if you're around the area. Don't leave your keys in your vehicle and make sure your doors are locked and your windows are locked. And I think they were asking people to make sure if they see anything on their property, anything with if you have a shed or an outbuilding, to make sure you contact them as he may have broken in or trying to hide from officers. So keep vigilant if you're out there and follow their advice for now, which including don't leave your cars unlocked and don't leave keys in your car. Don't be doing that. You don't want your car to disappear with a gunman and his wife and 2 children inside of it. So there you go. I will keep an eye on the press updates here. I will bring that to you. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it running in the background, and if I see anything, I will tell you. Hold on. Give me a second. All right, sorry, I wanted to catch that update and just see if it had anything interesting for us. They're saying that they think that there was going to be a press conference sometime in the coming hours, but they don't quite know a solid time right now. Like it's only 3:30 in the afternoon right now, so it could be any time between now and about 7 p.m. I've seen them do them as late as like 7:30, but I would expect between now and about 5:30 we'd probably get one. We'd probably get an update. Probably before the sun goes down for the night, you probably get an update. Marylander says, haven't seen this part of Australia. Well, it's country Victoria. That's what I would describe it as. It's really far northeast from Melbourne, so it's quite a distance away from the city where I am. Here, I'll show you a photo. This one's from one of the stories out here. It's a beautiful place. Have a look. There you go. There's a photo from the Mail. They had this on their website. It's a very pretty picturesque place. So it's a shame that they have to have this tragedy befall their town. It's these are the type of things that unfortunately create a lot of disruption to small towns for a period of time. They said, yeah, the gunman who is very well known to police. That's always the descriptor you want when you're in the news, right? Very well known. There you go. So heavy gunfire prevented local police from entering the property as they waited for special operation officers to arrive at the scene this morning. They said since then, extra police, including those camouflage officers and a tactical vehicle, have made their way to the area. There you go. No, no more updates right now. Let me check one other place for you. Yeah, last update that the killer is on the run with his wife and 2 children, and that New South Wales resources are coming in to help the Vic ones. So there you go. It looks like Scotland. I don't know about Scotland, but maybe. Beautiful but dangerous, like all mountain towns. I guess mountains can be dangerous if you fall off them. All right. All right. Let's move on for a minute. I'll bring you more updates when I have them, but right now it doesn't look like we're getting too much more. They may be restricting coverage. Oh, wait, hold on. What is this? No, that's just Parliament people. We don't want them. I'm gonna keep this running in the background. If I see something, I'll bring you to it. All right. Unaliver. I don't know the ages of the children. All right. I want to bring you to our second subject. So yesterday, I was in court for Erin Patterson's plea hearing. We talked a little bit about it last night, but I wanted to bring you some of the more information about what it's like for Erin to be in the protection unit, right? And the woman from corrections was giving evidence yesterday, and she described it like this: where Erin is in the Murray protection unit. She said the main area of the prison is separated into mainstream and protection. Protection is a smaller area of the prison, and it holds. She said it holds people who need protection or closer supervision from the main population of the prison for a range of reasons. And she said, but it's not as restrictive as a management unit, but it is a smaller unit within the prison. So that was one of the places that Erin was in, the Murray unit. And they were talking about it here. They ask her about the terms of like what type of facilities does Erin have within the unit, and they ask her, can you detail some of those facilities for the court? And she said there's some outdoor courtyard areas that have some gardens. There are small kitchenettes where some women can prepare their own food or supplement the food that's provided by the kitchen. There are televisions, central lounge areas for women to sit together and converse. But that is in the Murray unit, not the Gordon unit. The Gordon unit is where Erin is at the moment. This was the Murray unit where she was for a period of time beforehand. And they're saying here, what is the difference between the Murray unit and the Gordon unit? And she goes on to detail that the main difference is a level of movement and mixing of the women in protection is greater in the Murray unit than it is in the Gordon unit. So it's a more restrictive environment in the Gordon unit than it is in the Murray unit. And they're saying here, they're asking like, what was the reasons for Erin being moved to that higher restrictive unit? And she says, at the time when there is significant media, they said it felt sensible to make sure she had more protection. So so we heard this a few times in court yesterday. Anytime there's a sort of media coverage, or like yesterday we had a plea hearing, they sort of get worried about the prisoner because it highlights them within the prison system, right? So the chance of an attack from another inmate, or the chance that maybe the prisoner is under a stress load and it's sort of a bad situation. So sometimes when it's overwhelming, they will move them into a higher protection area of the prison, which in this case is the Murray Protection Unit. And they're saying that Erin's been there for quite a while. Let me give you down here. Yeah, so what they do a risk assessment, and they say that risk assessment is to identify what are the risks posed to Erin Patterson or by Miss Patterson to other people. Like, what are her needs? What would she be doing in prison? What are her interests? That's what they take into account when doing their risk assessments on moving people to other restrictive units. Let's say they ask her here, what is the minimum amount of time that Erin is allowed out of her cell? And she's saying the minimum she is allowed out is 1 hour. She at a minimum. And so it's a minimum, not a maximum, but at a minimum, she's allowed 1 hour outside of her cell per day. One. So it's like 23 hours a day, possibly, inside the cell. And yeah, so there you go. Very restrictive. 1 hour per day. They talk about here that the minimum is a statutory requirement, but she may have more than that. It would depend on the equity of access to other areas, what other prisoners' needs are, and whether these people can mix together. So some inmates can't mix with other inmates. Could be because of indiscretions between them. It could be because of risk profiles. It could be for a range of reasons. It could be that one of them has a very restrictive profile and the other one doesn't. So some women can, mix together and some can't, and that can affect how much time you have outside of that unit. So there you go. The minimum requirement is 1 hour. Like that's the minimum. And they said here that she has access to a library and leisure center, which includes various exercise equipment. And they say yes. She has limited access to the leisure center because apparently it's outside of the unit where she is, and there's some constraints with how they move prisoners around the unit. So it's not a free to access area, but it can be requested or made available. So, and they said here that Erin probably gets to visit it a couple of times a week, sort of like a gym or rec area. So Erin gets access to that a couple of times a week. And they say here that there's a treadmill in a lounge area within that unit too. So even though she may not have access to the recreational or fitness area, there is a treadmill in another common area where Erin's able to get some sort of exercise if she would like to. So very restrictive. Anything she wants to do, she has to ask for. Anytime she wants to go to the library, she has to wait to be asked. So they only take her a couple of times a week. And even then, even if she does get asked, hey, do you want to go to the library? It may not be possible. And they were detailing yesterday about staff shortages at the prison. They were saying that due to staff shortages, there's often more lockdowns than what normally there should be, which means it affects sometimes people like Erin being able to move around the prison to other areas like the library. So sometimes, even though she is requesting to go to these places, it is not possible due to staff shortages, basically. Here we go. They said that she has an open air space via the rear yard door of her cell. I'll see they had a description of it. Yeah, so they were saying it's sort of like they said, yeah, there's a door at the rear of her cell which opens out to a very small exercise area outside. And they said, is that freely open? And they were saying she can request for that door to be opened at the rear of her cell to be opened up into this sort of little outside area. So that is somewhat freely available if she wants it. Rachel said, "Ping, is Erin in something similar to the pictures that you have shown us? They look like dorms." I think that's the other area. The first area that they were talking about, where they have like a little kitchenette and stuff like that, that's the other unit. She's in a much more restrictive type area now. So I think that's the Murray unit. So the Murray unit, while has some restrictions, has more leeway and accessibility and stuff. Here, I'll see if I can find a picture. Apparently, The Age put a picture out of it. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah. Apparently, she has a hair straightener, a computer, and lots of wool. Yeah, we heard she was a keen crocheter, and that she has a lot of crochet materials inside of her cell. I'm trying to see if there's a photo of that Gordon unit. Hold on. I don't see one. I don't see one like they describe. They describe it as having a door where you can go out the back, like into a rear courtyard, but I don't see a photo of something that matches that description. So I don't know. Obviously, there's probably not a lot of photos in these prisons for a reason. Yeah, I don't see one like what they describe, but I'll show you one of the. This is Port Phillip. That's not the right one. I don't know. But here's a photo from The Age of a prison cell. I don't know if it's male or female, but this is one of them. Don't know if it's the one where Erin's at or the Gordon unit, but this is one of them in one of the prisons. So you get a sort of idea of what some of them are like. Lisa said, I wish I had a rear courtyard. They were describing in prison that this rear courtyard, that she can go out there and there is sort of like cyclone fencing between her and the person in the next cell. And that while they can't have physical contact, if they so wish to talk to their neighbor, she can. And so she could have some sort of human contact with her neighbor if she wanted to. She doesn't have to. I think they described that she hasn't at this point in time, but it is a possibility. So there is like this little courtyard. It has cyclone fencing between her and her neighbor, and yeah, she can talk to people if she so wishes. Um, so they ask for Erin, what if anything would change when she is sentenced? What would her what would change in prison in terms of things she would have access to? And they say here, in terms of her cell, very little. But in terms of services provided to her, the biggest would be education. So she would be allowed to apply to do some sort of education program, which apparently, when a person is on remand, they're not able to do that. And the reason they gave was because they don't know how long they're going to be in there. So they don't allow them to apply for education, because if they're only going to be in there for like 5 months, what's the point in starting a 4-year university course? It's a waste of resources. So until someone is sentenced, they don't allow them to have that. And they can take up education all the way to the level of university. But if they need lower levels of education to get there first, that can be provided. So there you go. Hold on. All right. Sorry about that. Yeah. Let me give you some more details about what it's like. Um, So one of the things that apparently Erin is unhappy with or would like more access to is the prison library, which has been unfortunately very limited for her up until this point. And they're saying that it's not what she would prefer, or what is she's not getting her allowance, so to speak. What else here? Let me go further down. I want to talk to you more about another bit. Yeah, contact with other prisoners. So apparently, then in the Gordon unit, they're not permitted to have contact with other prisoners until an application has been made and an assessment done. They say the women who are in Gordon are there for a range of reasons, and all of them require restrictive environments. So they're saying some of it might be behavioral, some of it might be for their safety, and some of it might be that mental health causes bad behavior, resulting in this restrictive environment that needs to be placed for their benefit. And they're saying here, yeah, some people's behavior requires a high level of restriction. Not saying that Erin's does, just some people in that prison require that. So when a person wishes to mix, there's an application process and an assessment process to make some determination about the safety of everyone in that process. So they have to basically apply to be friends with another inmate. So they have to make an application to be like, hey, I want to be friends with Jenny. And they're like, all right, well, we have to do an assessment and an application so you and Jenny can be buddies. And that's basically how it works in the Gordon unit. Yeah, so they talk about this courtyard, and they say that there's no physical contact, but they have the ability to communicate with another prisoner in the next cell. And they said that there's no sort of restriction on that. It just happens if the person tends to go out into their courtyard, and it so happens that their neighbor is out in their courtyard, then they can sort of talk, but it's not anything that is restricted. Uh, yeah, they explained yesterday at court that most likely, because of Erin's profile, like I told you, the Supreme Court told us that Erin's trial was the largest in recent memory in Victoria. And they were saying in court yesterday, because of Erin's profile, because of how, the notoriety from her offending, that it increases her risk profile, not only to herself but to other people, or other people hurting her. So the chances of her moving back to a more general population or less restrictive environment is pretty slim. They said not that it won't ever happen, but that there's a chance that it might be a long time, because it's going to take quite a long time for Erin's case to fade from the public memory. And they gave an example of Martin Bryant. So if you know who that is, funny we're talking about someone shooting people, because that is sort of what happened today in Victoria. But the prosecutor, Miss Warren, gave that example yesterday, saying, if you ask a 20-year-old today, they may not remember who Martin Bryant is. But if you ask people like my age, I was a young boy when he did that crime. But 20-year-olds today, unless they're interested in history or criminal cases or something, they may not know who he is at all. And that's what the prosecution was trying to say, that eventually people will forget who Erin is. And there's a chance that her risk profile will diminish over time. So I don't know if that's true. I think that that's probably going to be. I don't think people are going to forget in a hurry. While her trial will be over soon, and sentencing will take place in about 2 weeks' time. If there's an appeal, that's more publicity. If, or no, not if, but when these TV series, documentaries, Netflix series, whatever, come out about Erin, that'll again increase that publicity again for, you know, for Erin. So it's going to be sort of a merry-go-round of publicity for her, which will maybe restrict her movements within the prison, and she will not be able to go back to a less restrictive environment. Here, let me go down in my notes here. Ah, the other thing we learnt in court yesterday is inside of these units, they have an intercom system. Now, the intercom system can be used for calling like correctional staff. So if you need something, you can call them. But they have a second intercom. Apparently, with approval, you can phone another cell and talk to a prisoner in there like a telephone call. So if you have approval to do that, you can pick up that intercom and press a button, and it'll put you through to your, I don't know, number 8 or whatever, and you'll speak to another woman in another cell. But they're saying that that has not taken place for Erin, but that is a possibility. So this is not Erin's room. This is just an example of some of the rooms that are there. There's a few pictures. I don't know which one is which, unfortunately. I don't know which one is restrictive, which one isn't. Um, there's a few photos, but I can't find one specifically for that unit. You know, there's even more restrictive ones here. Here's an even more restrictive. I don't know if this is what she would be in. This more looks like just a very basic cell, maybe on remand or something. I don't know. How is this punishment? I don't know. It sounds like being restricted for 23 hours a day, though. She can only have a minimum of 1 hour outside of her cell. That's pretty, it's basically isolation. So she's not in general population at all. Here. There was a bit I wanted to. There was a bit about what Erin has in her room, and I wanted to read that bit for you. Sorry, my notes are like 50 pages long. Hold on. Yeah. Yeah. So they talk about what does she have in her cell? They say that Erin in her cell has her own pillows. She has a number of crochet blankets that she made herself. They talked about how she was a keen crocheter in prison and that she has a lot of supplies to do crochet. She has her toiletries, books, magazines, and that she has a hair straightener and a fan. They said that here she also has a television, room for her personal things, and that, yeah, she's a keen crocheter and has a lot of wool and crochet equipment in her cell. So there you go. Those are the things. She also, I'm pretty sure she has access to a laptop at points in time too. So she has very little, very little. She has her how she got crochet equipment. Don't crochet equipment include like those giant needles, like those real big ones? Wouldn't that be considered a weapon? How would that work? Hold on, crochet. No, not cricket. Yeah, how does crochet work? Ping doesn't know. I've never done crochet. Okay. I guess it's more like a hook rather than like a needle. It's more like a little hook type thing. Maybe you can get plastic ones that are not sharp. So this is more like what you would have for crochet. There you go. So it's not like a knitting needle as such. It's more like a little hook. I guess that's not that super dangerous. You can use needles? Okay. Let her make some ugly sweaters. Hey, don't give her any ideas. She'll be like that girl in Arizona who killed her partner and now sells paintings. She might start selling crochet out of her jail cell. Chrissy K. Hey, good to see you, my friend from WA. You need a needle to sew in the ends. Yes, you can get plastic ones. Okay. Could still take out an eye with that. Yeah, you could, right? But apparently she does have it, and she has all of her crochet equipment and wool inside of her cell. So there you go. That's what she has. She has a television, room for her personal items, crochet equipment, a computer, and that she has her own pillows. She has some blankets made from crochet that she made, her toiletries, books, magazines, a hair straightener, and a fan. So that's what she has to entertain herself for 23 hours a day in her room. That's what she has. So she, who is messaging Ping? Okay. Do you know what that email was? It was an email from Spotify. They're like, "Do you want three free months of Spotify?" No, I don't. I'm good. I don't want it. Thank you though. Okay. So there you go. That's what it's like in her restrictive environment. 23 hours a day, minimum of 1 hour being allowed out. She has a little courtyard at the back of her cell that she can ask to be open from prison officers, and that she has the items that I've listed for you. So, like a TV, some crochet equipment, some books, and that's about it. Not too much more. She's pretty restricted. Let me check here. All right. I'm just going to check something. I want to see if there's an update for us. By the way, if you're following that event out of Victoria today, they're saying, huh, they're saying that the officers were shot as they boarded a bus on the property in which the gunman was living. He emerged and opened fire with what is believed to be a shotgun. They said it was a straight out execution. So that is that case we were talking about earlier on in the show. That was the latest update coming through. Aussie Tad said, I wonder if they can download audiobooks or podcasts. I don't see anything here about internet access. I doubt they would have unfettered internet access from prison. I don't think that is something you would be able to have. So, I don't think so. Let me see here. So they were saying that normally when you get put into this Gordon unit, right, you're only normally there for about 15 days. And beyond that point, you have to get approval from senior personnel at the jail to stay longer because it's such a restrictive environment that there has to be sort of like no other choice for you. So there you go. What's going on? What? Okay. Maybe I'll show that at the end, Lisa. I'll show that at the end. So right now, I'm just looking at the ABC coverage. There is no update really right now. Someone called Jumpsuit Pablo. Yeah, maybe. Texas said, can prisoners access YouTube? I don't like the thing is in the list of provisions that I have here in my notes, you would think internet would be a really big one, but I don't see them listing that as something that she has access to. Let me see. Okay. They say no. Prisoners at Corrections Victoria facilities, including Dame Phyllis Frost Centre, are prohibited from having internet access as internet, email, and social media are banned. While prisoners may apply to have a computer in their cell for approved purposes like legal preparation or education, they would not have access to the internet only to approved hardware and software that supports their specific needs. So, no internet. So she would not be watching this podcast in prison about us talking about her. She would not. So she does not know who Ping is. She does not know who Ping is. Different prisons. It's saying here that in Corrections Victoria prisons that there is no internet. That you are not allowed to have internet. So let me have a look. Yeah, so they do not have access. They do have a messaging system inside the jail, but it's all controlled and yeah. It's all basically controlled. So like when you send a message it has to be checked over apparently. So there we go. No OnlyFans. I don't think Erin Patterson's going to be doing any OnlyFans from prison. Let's all hope not. Let's all hope not. Let's see. Let's see what else I got out of my. All right. So that's sort of like what her conditions are like in jail. Super restrictive. Most of the day she has to spend it alone in her prison cell, and she only gets very, very few hours outside of that cell per week. Yes, we know that. Thanks, sir. I appreciate it. We know that. Yes, they died a few hours ago. Yep. That was confirmed around 1 p.m. today. But there's no further updates. Like I don't have. Let me double check. Yeah, the last update they had on the ABC was that girl talking again here. She was just giving an update about it. Yeah, no real good updates right now on that one. So we're all waiting on a press conference. Joe says she was a cutie in early life. Are you sure about that? Audio says, is it really the worst police shooting since the ambush in the 80s? It's probably true. I can't remember the last time 2 police were killed in Victoria. Aussie Tad said Channel 7 saying he'd taken his wife and kids as hostage. It definitely says here in the reporting that we were talking about earlier that yes, so 1 minute ago the Herald Sun updated and said here 2 police officers have been killed, another wounded in a shooting at a property at Porepunkah near the tourist town of Bright in Victoria's northeast. And they said here, gunman is a suspected sovereign citizen. He has fled into the bush with his wife and children as hostages. Neighbors say it's a hippie type community at the property where the officers were shot. One of 2 officers was killed, was weeks from retiring. That's very sad. Police on Monday afternoon were scouring bushland at Mount Buffalo for the missing gunman. The air wing could be seen circling the large area as at least 24 police patrolled the ground on foot. They said Mount Buffalo Road was cordoned off by police tape as uniform and plainclothes officers, as well as SES crews, supervised the area. Cop ambush. Yeah, and the last thing was cop ambush was straight out execution. So there you go. So it says here, it is understood the man on the run was issued a firearms prohibition order, and the warrant this morning was related to that order. Police from the Public Order Response Team in Melbourne and local officers were conducting a routine search for firearms when the tragedy unfolded. FPOs are imposed on people with a history with guns and carry strict conditions around weapons possession. Breaches carry heavy penalties up to 5 years in prison. So there you go. He was issued. I don't know where that other thing came about, the warrant for the SA. I don't know if that was bad information, but they're saying it was a FPO, firearms prohibition order. I don't know where this other thing. Yeah, the officers were at the property to execute a warrant for historical SA allegations. And then in the Herald, they're saying it is in regards to a firearm prohibition order. So cross reporting here about 2 different things. Don't know. Gail said, yeah, that was the Weabilla one. Hey Julie, hey my friend, are you really in Kenya? Are you really in Kenya? Are you really in Africa, my friend? Are you really overseas? Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. Good to have you here. Yeah, we watched the body cam for it. Yeah, it was pretty bad. All right. I want to get back to what we're talking about, but we'll keep an eye on this as we go through the afternoon. I'm not seeing any updates. They've got a different update about the Jewish attacks going right now. All right. I want to take you to some of the VIS. So, what is VIS? VIS is victim impact statements. And we read out some of them last night. We read out definitely Ian's one, which was beautiful. I thought it was a very beautiful victim impact statement, and it was very heart wrenching to listen to. But I want to take you to another one here. Oh, actually, there was a bit that we didn't do last night, and I want to talk to you about it. So this is Ian Wilkinson, And Ian Wilkinson, in his victim impact statement, this is a bit we didn't do last night. He says, I have suffered severe personal impact from Erin's actions. I very, very nearly died. It has taken me the best part of 2 years for my health and strength to recover to the point they have. I praise God for my miraculous healing, and I thank the many medical professionals who strive to save all four of us. They threw everything into our care. I joke that I know this because I have a bump on the back of my head from the kitchen sink. It's a grief to them that Heather, Gail, and Don died. Although I've made a good recovery, my health never returned to the levels I had before the fateful lunch. I have reduced kidney function, ongoing respiratory issues, and reduced energy, and I've had to face the many challenges of re-establishing life without Heather. The challenge of vastly changed social circumstances. I'm suddenly single. The heartbreak of having to wind up her affairs, returning to pastoral work without her help and sage advice, unsettled sleep, nobody to share in life's daily tasks, which has taken much of the joy out of pottering around the house and the garden, nobody to debrief with at the end of the day. He says the impacts are so many and varied, some big, and a myriad of small things that no list could contain them. So there you go. He also says, I'm distressed that Erin has acted with callous and calculated disregard for my life and the life of those I love. So that's the bit we unfortunately missed last night. He details how his health never returned to the levels before the mushroom poisoning, and that he struggles in life to know what to do without his wife Heather by his side. And that was very hard to hear. Like he said, he's woken up out of that coma suddenly single and without a wife who he was together with for 44 years. That is a nightmare that you wouldn't ask anyone to go through, and unfortunately he has had to. So uh really, really hard to listen to him here. So the other one that I wanted to talk to you about was Ruth Dubois, and she is the daughter of Heather and Ian. And she says here, how can you possibly reduce those? How can you possibly reduce who these people were and the depth and extent of our loss, grief, and trauma down to just a few words on a page? On the 29th of July 2023, four generations of our families, ranging from newborn to 99 years old, countless friends, and wider community, were handed a lifetime of carrying this unimaginable horror. Mum had seemingly endless amounts of energy, whether it was doing something creative with her grandchildren or making biscuits and visiting somebody going through a rough time. She never seemed to tire of genuinely caring for people. Genuinely. I can't remember a single time where she was frustrated by or not wanting to offer help where she saw need. She was generous and kind with a gentle patience and a good sense of humor. She truly worked to love others and wanted the best for them. She was good at maintaining relationships. She was quick to forgive and even quicker to apologize and make amends if she thought she'd done something wrong. She saw need not just in her close relationships, but in the wider community, and set about quietly trying to help without fanfare and without want for acknowledgement. She wanted to love people where they were at and did so with kindness. She was a wonderful example of a mother and one I have continually strived to live up to. One of my closest friends and someone I cherish deeply. She was the person I went to for advice, the person I'd call when I wanted to share my successes, the person who comforted me and lifted me up when I was going through hard times. She was somebody I trusted with both the best parts and worst parts of myself, knowing that there would be no judgment. Her love as a mother shone evidently in her words and actions right up until she left us. Her final conversation with us were not about herself. She was more concerned about her own family, their work, their children, than she was about her own sudden and unexpected health crisis. Ruth goes on to say, I miss her daily, and life feels less bright without her. Don and Gail were a constant in my life. We grew up spending time with the family at our respective homes and in the community and at the church. She said she doesn't want to say too much, but I did want to highlight the kind, thoughtful, and gentle natures of both Don and Gail. They both cared deeply for those around them and were very intentional and generous in their interactions with people. She goes on to say the teams at Lee and Gath at Dandenong and especially the Austin hospitals work tirelessly to support and care for not just mum and dad, but our whole family throughout this awful time. They were so gentle and patient with our millions of questions as they busily worked around us to provide the life supports that mum and dad needed. I am forever thankful for their dedication and hard work every step of the way. I felt like our parents had the best team on the job doing everything they could. Words of thanks just don't seem enough. Dad has shown unbelievable strength and courage through this. He remains a wonderful example of resilience to us all, and despite the horrific harms done to him and the sudden loss of his wife, sister, and brother in law, he continues to serve and love those around him. They say, Ruth says, we grew up in a home being shown love, empathy, and compassion, to always look for the best in people. It is horrible to know that it's these good attributes that we use to lure these kind people with the intentions of causing harm. The world seems colder and harsher knowing this than for the offender to sit and watch over casual conversation while these people who showed nothing but love and care for her ate a meal that would kill. It's beyond anything I can put words to. The following days are in stark contrast. The events we witnessed in hospital felt like an endless nightmare, and they said now we've heard in court how seemingly normal life continued for the offender. It is difficult to comprehend how someone could spend months planning this out, researching, collecting the items needed, making the lunch invitation, preparing the meal, sit through eating it, and then carry on with normal life, all while knowing what tremendous harm was being caused, followed up by extraordinary lies and absolute lack of care shown for the victims. There were multiple times during this process she could have stopped. She could have cancelled the plans. She could have thought about the consequences, been honest, helped the medical staff, potentially change the outcome, but instead, at every step of the way, she chose to follow through. I constantly feel a weight of sadness about the wider impacts to the community this crime has caused, and the vast number of people outside our family who have been affected, some who we have never even met. So it's a really sad to hear how this has affected Ruth and other people. She goes on to say here, this crime has changed every part of my life. How I view the world is very different. My life will never be the same. It has changed the way I interact with people and has been very isolating. The intense media coverage has left me second guessing every word I say, worried about who I can trust with my thoughts and feelings. It is particularly revolting to experience our family's tragedy being turned into entertainment for the masses, and to know that people are using our family's trauma for their own personal gain. As a mother, you want your children to have a good life, to experience all the wonderful things this world has to offer, and to teach the skills to manage through hard things. Your instincts are to want to shield and protect your children from the horrors that can happen. These crimes have left me feeling that I cannot do that for my children. They have had to experience and navigate firsthand how cruel and unkind this world can be, and these are traumas that will be carried with them for the rest of their lives. She says, as a mother, I will never understand how you could willingly choose this for your children. So she's talking to Erin there, how you could willingly choose this for your children. So she's speaking to Erin there, how she's seen the horror that has to gone through for her children, and she knows that Erin has her own. How could she do that to her own children? It's crazy. Yeah, beautiful statement by Ruth, by the way. She put it into words very, very well. So, very emotional. So we sat through these yesterday morning, and I'll say, as someone who sat through over 200 hours of court hearings for Erin Patterson, when you hear these victim impact statements, it changes the way you look at the case, because before this, it's very like one level. You're looking at an offender and what they've done to commit their crimes. Like, that's what we're covering on this channel. But when you hear these personal effects and uh, how it's altered their lives. They talk about in one of these victim impact statements that they've had to install security cameras at their home, and each time that the security camera goes off or alerts them, they get like heart palpitations because they're so worried that it's a member of the media or someone wanting to hurt them or disturb their peace at their home. And you know, that's very hard to hear. They talked about several times how media have banged on their windows, knocked at their doors, shoved things under their door, business cards, and they talk about how every time they call the police, by the time the police get there, the media have skulked away, avoiding any repercussions for stepping onto private property. So I hope everyone took that very seriously when they talked about how it's altered their lives, you know. I don't know who it was, they didn't name it, but I'll tell you one thing they did say. They called out traditional media. They didn't talk about anyone like me, podcast, new gen media. They specifically said traditional media. That's what they said in their statements. So, um I have a rule on this channel. I don't reach out to victims unless they reach out to me first. I just don't do it. It's a personal rule. I've had that ever since I made the channel. I know a lot of people from other YouTube channels will do it, but for me it's an ethical boundary for me where I'm just not willing to do it. So, I do not reach out to victims. Ozzy said ACA is notorious for it. I can tell you that at the trial, the guy that works for 60 Minutes and the people that work for ACA were at the trial. I can tell you I saw them there. Chipmunk says respect has left many. I agree. Here, let me see if I can find the bit in the. I want to see if I can find the bit where they talk about what it has done to them to have this media frenzy on them. Uh, yeah. So I think this is Simon Patterson. Let me double check. It is Simon. And in his statement, in his victim impact statement, he talks about his challenges with the media here. And I'm going to move down to it. Yeah. He says here, the practical impact on our family and me since the murders have been intense. Added to the bewildering killing of special people we love dearly, the impact includes trauma caused by an abrasive legal system and an occasionally callous mainstream media. I have found both to be remarkably dehumanizing. The inability to share openly with close family members prior to us giving evidence to avoid influencing each other's memories has partly inhibited my healthy grieving The inability to follow or absorb the legal process that has occurred before. Wait. The inability to follow or absorb the legal process that occurred before I gave evidence in the trial has distressed me. The deplorable behavior by some legacy media personnel has also substantially yeah, like he's saying it's hurt his family and him. He says, my kids and I have suffered many days filled with strangers menacing our home, brandishing notebooks, phones, cameras, and microphones. We have faced people waiting in ambush at our front door, inches away with TV camera and microphone at the ready after ringing our doorbell. Strangers holding notebooks have banged aggressively on our windows in the early morning, trying to peek into my children's bedrooms, always skulking away before the police arrive. He says, I have been ambushed by strangers with cameras and microphones waiting by my car when I am parked in public. The children and I have been filmed in cafes and in the street by opportunistic individuals. He says he doubts I'll get used to being treated in such a dehumanizing way by these creepy strangers who regard humans as merely content to further their media careers. He says the consequence of this is that our home has a security camera TV switched on much of the time, which we often glare at or often glance at. Noise from the outside of our home also, uh, he says, precipitate a check of the security camera feed and sometimes a long, reassuring hug. The kids and I have established a routine for when we stay away at short notice to avoid a media circus suddenly gathering outside our home. He says, when we are at a cafe, if I suddenly say it's time to go now, the kids know we immediately leave quietly. And he says it's because I've spotted someone recording us. He says the need to perpetually watch for strangers who are showing a threatening interest has introduced a new strain on our lives. Despite the trauma and drama, I am also thankful for the many positive impacts on the kids and me. So he talks about the amazing care they encountered has enabled them to survive the ordeal and so far, in some instances, thrive. So I won't go more into that because it talks more about his children and stuff. But I wanted to do that bit about the media there. I can't imagine what it would be like to have them banging on your windows and trying to like leer into your children's bedroom windows. I think that would be uh, I don't know. For me, that crosses a line. I understand about getting the story and being the first one or whatever, but I also believe you need to have a level of respect for victims. And Simon's a victim, so why would you not give him the respect of other victims? I find that strange. Chipmunk says the Emmanuel case is sad for many reasons. The way people are acting disgusts me. Charging a tour to crime scene home, breaking in, trespassing, and ruining a crime scene, but they care about justice. People are charging to tour the home, like where Emmanuel lived. That's what? No, that's weird. Um, hmm, that's a bit too far. All right, give me a sec. That was a lot of reading. I just want to switch and see if there's anything new on this No update as of yet. I'm not seeing any new updates for the police officers. Ah, they're saying here 2 officers were killed while a third was shot in the leg. They were airlifted to the Alfred Hospital with serious injuries in a stable condition. That's the helicopter we saw land at the Alfred earlier. So the officer who was shot in the thigh is going to be okay. They are in a stable condition in hospital. So I agree. How do people do that? It's awful. That's not very nice at all. All right. Give me a sec. I want a drink. Hold on. So there you go. I hope that gave you some insight into the various victim impact statements and sort of what this trial and offending overall has, harmed the family. Like they talk about how an abrasive legal system has caused them trauma. And I get that, where they said they couldn't even talk to family members about how they felt or what had happened because the authorities had told them it might influence their memories and what they recall at trial. So for almost 2 years, they couldn't really converse with each other about the events that had happened because it might have meant that they were sort of, breaking the rules, changing their memories, all sorts of things. That's all right, Zen. I hope you enjoyed your nana nap. So yeah, that was part of Simon's one there. Simon's one talking about the extent of the media coverage and what it has done to them. That's pretty shocking that him going to a cafe and people, opportunistic people, have been filming him and his children. That is pretty gross. Pretty gross. Like he says, I have been ambushed by strangers with cameras and microphones, waiting by my car when I am parked in public. The children and I have been filmed in cafes and in the street by opportunistic individuals. He says, I'll doubt I'll get used to being treated in such a dehumanizing way by these creepy strangers who regard humans as merely content to further their media careers. I think that's a good way of ending that. So there you go. There you go. Yeah, don't be filming the children. That's uh, it's against the law for one. I think that's pretty dumb. He needs that fart spray. He does. He should. He should spray the media with fart spray. That would be. I'd pay to see that. That'd be funny as. Zen said, "I'll have to replay again the hour that I missed." So we started the show talking about the um the shooting today of two police officers who they say in the update recently was like an execution, straight out execution. And he has now taken his own family hostage and fled the area. So there you go. They say here local hospitals were open. They were also placed on alert and put on after-hour access procedures due to the active police incident in the area. They said access to services in the area have changed. The Bright Hospital and the Hawthorne Village remain open. However, after-hours access procedures apply. This means the doors are closed, but the community can access these services by pressing the buzzer at the front entrances. They said in-home services, including community and district nursing services in Bright and Porepunkah and the Buckland Valley, have been placed on hold until further notice. So there you go, some changes to hospitals in the area. And they're saying here, members of the SOG, which is the Special Operations Group, have descended on the mountain just before 4 p.m. as sniffer dogs were deployed on the ground. So it sounds like they could be on his trail. Sounds like they could be on the gunman's trail right now. So yeah, that was the latest update. Let me check here and see if there's anything new going on. I don't understand why you keep saying there's no sound. Hold on. It's sounding all right on my side. Can someone tell me if there was no sound during that news coverage? Why would there be no sound? That's odd. There isn't any? Weird. We played it before and it worked. We played it like an hour ago and it worked. That's odd. Okay. That's very strange. It worked like an hour ago. Don't know why. We've been blanked. We've been blanked out. The man is coming for us. That's odd. I don't know what is going on there. Hold on. I don't know. No, it's not. A VPN? No, I'm not running a VPN right now. Mute button is not on. Let me try again. Yeah, I checked the stream replay. Yes, it is not working. I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe they've changed something. Maybe they caught us cross live streaming. That could be true. That could be true. That has happened before, so maybe that's what happened. Maybe they finally caught on. The man has caught on. We have been caught by the man. All right. I'm gonna wind up anyway. That's weird. It worked earlier. That's okay. I can read it to you. I'm not gonna read the subtitles to you. Strange. Very strange. Yeah, odd. Because we have done that before. I'm just checking if there's an update here. No update. But there you go. I am sharing news. That's right. No, the volume's all the way up. Look, you guys can see here. I'll change it to full screen. The volume's all the way up. See? It's funny. I can hear it out of my headphones, but you guys can't hear it. Strange. Like it's here.
At around 1 o'clock, we were first on scene from the media. There was a really big police presence. It has quietened off a bit now. We have seen a lot of police vehicles leave the area. The road through to Mount Buffalo, where we understand this incident has unfolded, is still cordoned off. You can see the police tape behind me. And there is a police helicopter in the air. Now, that has been in the air since I arrived here at 1 o'clock, and it is hovering over a paddock over my right shoulder. I'm not sure if you can hear it, but it is just going back and forth. It's quite low and is travelling really quite slowly. We have had the canine unit as well here this afternoon. The dog has been put back in the car not so long ago, but it was assisting on the ground. We also have the local SES unit has arrived. They've set up a tent also to my right. We understand that they will be assisting with this search as well, because what we do know is that this shooter is still at large. There is a caravan park to my left. You can't quite see it over my shoulder, but we understand that residents and visitors at that park have been told to remain indoors and to keep their cars locked. Local schools were placed into lock.
Yeah, the only way you could hear it that time is because I played it and I put the headphone up to the microphone. So it was playing through my headphones, but you guys couldn't hear it. Interesting. Maybe they have restreaming blocked. Could be. It could be. We'll see if we get a smack later on. We probably will, because we've done that before with the ABC and never had a problem. So odd issue, but we have workarounds, people. Yeah, I've never seen that problem before, ever, where I can hear it through my headphones, but you guys can't hear it through the live stream. So I don't know, strange. All right. I don't think I don't think we're going to get an update, unfortunately. Let me I'm just checking to see if there's anything new in the last 3 minutes ago. They're talking about the hospital. So they're saying here that roads are still blocked around the area of Mount Buffalo. Yeah, and people can't get into their homes, unfortunately. So it's sounding like the lockdown, some sort of a lockdown, is still continuing. Yeah, I hope they find it too. Lisa, I had a look at it. I can't play it. It's not my content. So I mean, I know we do it with the news, but this is different. So I'm not able to use it, unfortunately, because it comes from another channel. So sorry, it is funny, but I'll put it in the comments so people can watch it. Rachel said, "What channel do we watch from the US for an update?" I don't know. You could try ABC. I don't know if it is restricted, but I can give you a link to the ABC News Australia. You could try this YouTube channel. I don't know if it works outside of Australia, but that is the news channel you see on the stream right now. That is our local news down here. One of the local public channels, sort of like PBS, but different. It's a public, owned by like the public. It's ABC News in Australia. That's who you see on the screen here. That's who was providing the update on the video here. So, but you could watch it there. I don't know if it'll work, but it might. If you want to look for an update later, but not watch an update, you can search for this here. Yeah, actually, VicPol put out an update. Victoria Police continues to respond to an incident at the property in Porepunkah. This is an active incident and will provide information when it's operationally safe to do so. They just keep sort of issuing the same statement over and over again. But you could search for something like this. There you go. You could search for that. But check out ABC News Australia if you're from overseas. That would be the easiest one to access, I would say, for people. So without getting a VPN. I will. We're going to get out of here for the night. It's good to see you. I hope you guys enjoyed hearing a bit more about what Erin's life is like inside of that prison. And also a bit more about the victim impact statements and how the families have been, how this has impacted their lives. And I'm guessing there's a lot of facets of not just the offending, but the things surrounding it. Like they said, the court case, the media, disruptions to their lives. It's not a single answer to that question, like how has this crime affected you. I think it's a multi-layered question, and it won't go away just with a sentence for Erin. It'll take many years for those things to heal and get better, if at all. So I will, yeah. So we'll be at sentencing in 2 weeks, in about 13 days. In about 13 days, we'll be at sentencing, and I will tell you, I will try and be the first person to give the public the information, like I was on verdict day. On verdict day, I think I was the first person to post the verdict in Australia, so I think I had it out pretty damn quick. So I will try and do that again on sentencing and be the first one, hopefully, I will. I will. Hey, thank you to the people who support this channel. I very much appreciate it. This channel is operational and gets to go to all these trials and court cases and get to cover all these local stories and stories from America because of the generosity of the viewers. You can find those links underneath the video if you too want to see more content like this. So I will see you tomorrow. I'll be back. Maybe if we get a press conference, I will come back and stream the press conference tonight. But it depends what time and if we're getting one and 20 other things. So, but if we do get one in the next couple of hours, I will come back. I will come back and give you updates on the police shooting. Okay. Oh yes. Tomorrow night I'm filling in for Trish on Web Sleuth. So I will be over on Web Sleuth's channel tomorrow night filling in for one night only. For one night only. So check me out over there tomorrow night and then we'll do a show after Web Sleuth over here. So you get 2 ping shows tomorrow. 2. All right. I love you all. Good night. You might see me again in the next couple of hours. We'll see. Good night, everyone. Bye.